Some stories are so dark, so brutal, that the media turns away. But I won't, because Trypp mattered. He was just 2 years old, a baby, and what was done to him by someone trusted to be in his life is beyond comprehension. This case barely made headlines. No national coverage, no viral outrage, just a shattered family, a grieving community, and a system that once again failed to protect the most vulnerable. Today I'm telling Trypp's story because silence is complicity, and this child deserves to be remembered, not for how he died, but for how fiercely we fight in his name. This is not just a true crime case. This is a call to action, because Trypp's suffering should never have happened, and it must never happen again. Before we talk about what was done to him, I want you to know who he was. Trypp was born on October 12, 2018, to Ashley Carlisle Race and Dylan Thomas. He had blonde hair, big blue eyes, and a smile that could melt anyone's heart. He was the kind of kid who loved everything boy: Buzz Lightyear, Woody, trucks, dinosaurs, and running around like a little whirlwind of joy. He was pure energy, pure innocence, and pure love. He hadn't even mastered potty training yet. He was still sleeping in either a crib or a toddler bed, depending on what he felt like that night. He loved playing outside, chasing bugs, kicking up dirt, and soaking in the world with wide-eyed wonder. He was just beginning to explore life, but tragically never got the chance to experience the milestones every child deserves: learning to ride a bike, picking out a backpack for preschool, or walking into a classroom for the very first time. Trypp wasn't an only child. He had an older sister, Neela, who was just 10 years old when the unimaginable happened to her baby brother. She was there when Trypp suffered such unimaginable cruelty. She saw his lifeless little body. She sounded the alarm and wanted so badly to save him, but the monster wouldn't allow that. Just a child herself, she now carries the weight of that trauma, the fear, the helplessness, and the devastating loss of her baby brother forever. I'm not telling Trypp's story to sensationalize it. I'm telling it because he deserves a voice, because the world barely noticed he was taken with such brutality, and because not everyone who contributed to his suffering is facing justice. He was just a baby. He deserved to live, but instead he was brutalized and silenced by a monster who should never have been near him. Unfortunately, Trypp never stood a chance. He was surrounded by filth and rot, and I don't mean just the condition of his home, but the adults surrounding him. It wasn't a place for children. It was a place where illegal substances lurked around every corner, where violence simmered just beneath the surface, and where adults failed him at every turn. His mother, Ashley, was reckless and irresponsible. She chose relationships over her children's safety. Her so-called boyfriend, Lee Wayne Young Sr., was dating another woman half his age at the same time. He was just using her, and she allowed it. He had documented violent tendencies according to court filings, and not only brought nothing but chaos and danger into Trypp's life, he brought his killer. Lee Wayne Young Jr. was a teenager with a juvenile record. He was skipping school, using substances, and had multiple run-ins with the law, including sales of said substances. He was fleeing police and obstructing justice. Ashley knew this, she saw it, and she still let him near her children. There were prior CPS reports on Ashley for both children, but in typical CPS fashion, this case wasn't a priority. No one stepped in, no one protected them. This was a recipe for disaster, and anyone paying attention could see it. The dysfunction wasn't hidden, it was transparent, like a glass house with cracks in every wall. Substance use, violence, prior CPS reports, a teenager with a criminal record, a mother who chose chaos over care. It was all there, plain as day, and yet it took the brutal suffering and death of a baby for the justice system, CPS, or anyone else to finally intervene. Trypp's life was the price of their inaction, and that is unforgivable. To make things easier as we move along through this story, I'll be referring to Lee Wayne Young Sr. as Senior and Lee Wayne Young Jr. as Junior. It helps keep the details clear, especially as we untangle the roles each of them played in the chaos that surrounded Trypp. April 16th, 2021 started like any other day in Mankato, Minnesota. The spring air was cool but gentle. Temperatures hovered around 54 degrees Fahrenheit with a light breeze and partly cloudy skies. It was the kind of day where you might find a toddler like Trypp running through the yard, chasing bugs, or kicking a ball. But tragically, not this day. Instead of enjoying a beautiful spring afternoon outside, little Trypp was going through hell. He was trapped inside that house with a monster, someone who would soon unleash unimaginable cruelty upon this innocent little boy. Cruelty so horrific, it would haunt law enforcement, medical professionals, and anyone who came into contact with the aftermath. At 4:21 p.m., Blue Earth County Dispatch received a threats complaint. Officers Kelly Wood, Jessica Ellis, and Sean McClinton responded. They weren't there for Trypp. They were investigating something else entirely, but fate had other plans. As they worked the scene, they noticed Junior emerging from the back of the house with Neela trailing behind him. He was curt with her, dismissive. Officers couldn't quite hear what he said. He tied up a dog in the yard, looked towards the officers, and then disappeared. Minutes later, Officer John McGuire arrived. He wasn't even assigned to the call, he was just checking in. And thank God he did, because as he pulled into the driveway, a woman, Ashley, Trypp's mother, was waving her arms, screaming. She told him something was wrong with her son, that he wasn't breathing. Then came Senior, carrying Trypp's lifeless body in his arms. Ashley was crying, screaming, "The dogs did it." Senior echoed her, saying, "The damn dogs." But the officers knew better. They took one look at this baby and knew there were no injuries consistent with a dog attack. They tried desperately to save him. They performed CPR. They called for EMS, but it was too late. His body had already began to shut down. He was gone. As law enforcement scrambled to respond, the scene grew more chaotic by the minute. Junior and Senior were seen carrying knives. Officers asked them to stash them in a nearby vehicle, but the question lingered. Why were they armed? What were they preparing for? Junior slipped into another car. Senior began stripping off layers of clothing, tossing his jacket into the vehicle. He looked panicked and up to no good, almost like he was hiding something. Detective Jason Bennett arrived and began piecing together the fractured timeline. He spoke with Junior, Senior, Ashley, and Trypp's older sister Neela and quickly found inconsistencies in their stories. Trypp had supposedly been napping, but when asked what time he was laid down, Neela turned to Junior, who claimed he didn't know. Senior jumped in saying, "She laid him down. Junior just showed up when we told him." Then he added that he had called Junior to check on Trypp and that Junior called back screaming. But when asked where Junior was when he found Trypp, Ashley said, "I don't know. He found him and carried him down." It was a mess of contradictions. No one seemed to know who was where, who was responsible, or who was lying. But one thing was clear: Trypp had been left alone with Junior. Then came the search of the home. It was filthy and unlivable. Trash was piled everywhere. The stench of animal urine filled the air. Feces was on the floor, and even on top of the refrigerator. Trypp's room had a child-sized car bed buried in the clutter. This wasn't a home, it was a hazard, and it was the last place Trypp ever laid his head. Officers transported Junior, Senior, Ashley, and Neela to the station for further questioning. Junior and Senior were separated, but even then, Senior could be heard yelling to Junior to ask for a lawyer, saying, "Don't cooperate, just lawyer up." Detective Tiffany Blashko and a child protection worker interviewed Trypp's sister, Neela. Her account was heartbreaking. She'd stayed home from school that day with a fever. She said she went to bed around 11 p.m. the night before, and Trypp was still awake. When she woke up, Junior was already in the house. Ashley was gone. She believed Junior had arrived around 2 a.m. At 8 a.m., she said she put Trypp down for a nap. She helped him go potty, turned on the TV, tickled him a little, and left the room. She said he slept on his car bed with a fitted sheet and orange blanket. She said she then went outside to play. Junior and Trypp were left alone inside. She didn't know where her mother had gone, maybe to the store. She said she checked in 5 to 7 times over the next 2.5 hours. She said she saw Junior playing video games. Another time she didn't know what Trypp was doing. She said she came in for lunch, scarfed it down in seconds, and went back to her room. She didn't know what Trypp ate. She thought Junior had fed him. This is just a glimpse into the stellar mothering of Ashley. She just bails on her 2 children, doesn't say where she's going or when she's going to be home. She just leaves. Neela is left to fend for herself and her brother. I'm sure she assumes Junior is there to babysit, if you can call it that. At some point, Neela realized something was wrong. Trypp had been napping for far too long. She went upstairs to check, and what she found would change everything. Trypp was cold. His face had new marks that hadn't been there before, and his tiny face was buried in the pillow. He was still covered up, tucked in like nothing had happened. She told Junior something was wrong and that she wanted to call 911, but he told her not to and to call her mother Ashley instead. That's when Junior carried Trypp's lifeless body down the stairs, and according to Neela, that's when Ashley and Senior arrived. But the stories didn't line up. Ashley told detectives that Junior had spent the night on the couch, that she woke up around 7:30 a.m. and had chocolate chip waffles with Trypp while watching cartoons. She said she and Senior left to go look at a car, leaving Junior and Neela alone with Trypp, but couldn't say what time they left. She confirmed she received the call from Neela at 4:29 p.m., and at that time, Junior and Neela were home alone with Trypp. When asked to verify the time on her phone, Ashley showed the screen but refused to let the detective touch it. Then came Senior's interview. He denied Junior was even there that morning. He guessed that Junior arrived around 11 a.m. on a bike. He claimed Ashley called Junior to check on Trypp, and Junior said Neela was watching him. That call, Senior said, happened about 30 minutes before Neela called Ashley to say something was wrong with Trypp. Junior's story was all over the place. He first claimed he hadn't been at the house at all. Then he said Ashley told him to check on the kids, and when he arrived, Neela told him Trypp was cold and not moving. Then the cops showed up. He said he rode his bike over and that it was still outside. Then he changed his story and said the last time he saw Trypp was April 15th. The day before, around 4 or 5 p.m., then changed it to 9 or 10 p.m. He then claimed the cops, Ashley and Senior, were already there when he arrived. Detectives confronted him. His timeline didn't match anyone else's. Junior insisted body cam video would show him and Neela on the back porch, but still claimed he didn't spend the night. He said he carried Trypp down the stairs and laid him on the couch, that it was 20 minutes before Ashley and Sr. arrived, that he didn't call the cops because they were already there, and that he wanted to wait for Sr. And then he refused to provide a voluntary DNA sample. Cell phone data placed Junior at the residence from midnight to 5 p.m. on April 16th. That's digital proof he had access to Trypp for hours. Detective Bennett walked the property and photographed the back patio. 2 bicycles sat upside down, blocked in by clutter. They hadn't been used, which proved Junior's story about riding his bike was just another lie. Inside the house, investigators found that Trypp's car bed, where he was supposedly napping, had no sheets, just 2 blankets. The fitted sheet, mattress protector, and pillowcase were found elsewhere. Then came a chilling discovery: a white power adapter in Trypp's room marked for a webcam. Witnesses confirmed there had been a camera in that room as recently as December 2020. Ashley had used it to send images of Trypp to friends and family, but that camera was conveniently missing. A search warrant was executed on the vehicles Junior and Sr. had entered. Inside one of the vehicles, officers found Sr.'s black jacket he had removed and thrown in the car in a panic. And lo and behold, inside that jacket was the missing webcam. When confronted about this, Sr. claimed he hid it to protect the kids. Detectives also obtained search warrants for the phones of Junior, Ashley, and Neela. On Ashley's phone, they found a still image of the living room, time-stamped 4:16 p.m., 17 minutes before Ashley and Sr. arrived, 2 minutes before Officer McGuire was flagged down. Trypp was not in that image, which means someone was in the room with him before help was ever called. The timeline was collapsing, the lies were exposed, and the horror was just beginning. Detectives believed Junior was involved in Trypp's death. They obtained a warrant for DNA and trace samples. Junior resisted and tried to hide the sample in his underwear. Ashley, Sr., and Neela gave their samples voluntarily. And then came the confirmation. Junior's, let's just say, body fluids were found mixed on the fitted sheet, a towel found in the bathroom, and shockingly, Detective Bennett interviewed Ashley again. He told her about the findings and told her in detail the horrors her son had suffered at the hands of Junior, including the brutal essay. He also told her he believed Sr. had removed the webcam when they arrived. The webcam that hauntingly recorded the brutality Junior unleashed on this innocent baby. Ashley gave him access to the app connected to the camera, and then she said it. She believed Junior was responsible. Detective Bennett didn't just listen, he calculated. He mapped the timeline, he compared every statement, and what he found was damning. If Junior and Sr.'s stories were to be believed, Junior would have had to arrive on a bicycle, enter the residence, find Trypp's lifeless body, carry him down the stairs, and place him on the couch, all within 5 minutes. 5 minutes between the first squad car pulling up and the moment officers Wood and Ellis saw Junior and Trypp's sister on the back patio. That's not just unlikely, it's impossible. And even more disturbing, Junior never sought help. He saw the officers, he knew they were there. He looked in their direction, and he said nothing. He didn't wave them down, he didn't scream for help, he didn't run toward them with Trypp in his arms. He stayed silent. Not a good look. His silence was calculated, a deliberate choice to avoid accountability. At the hospital, the truth came into focus. The examiner didn't hesitate. The manner of death was homicide. April 16th, 2021 was the day Trypp died, but it wasn't until August of 2021 that Lee Wayne Young Jr. was formally indicted by a grand jury on 25 charges, including first-degree murder. It took investigators 5 months to untangle the web of lies, contradictions, and cover-ups surrounding Trypp's death. Jr. was 16 years old at the time of the crime. Initially, he was booked into a secured juvenile facility on a second-degree murder charge. But as forensic evidence poured in, the charges escalated. By the time he was arrested, the case against him was airtight. Some charges were dismissed before trial, including kidnapping. It's kind of a gut punch because every moment Trypp spent alone with Jr. was a kidnapping in spirit, if not in statute. When the trial began, the courtroom wasn't just filled with lawyers and jurors. It was filled with the ghosts of what Trypp endured. The courtroom was silent, but the air was heavy. Every person seated knew they were about to hear the unthinkable. And when the officers took the stand, they didn't just testify, they bore witness. They described the condition of Trypp's body in detail. Their voices didn't tremble, but their words did, because what they saw wasn't just tragic, it was deliberate. Then came Tyler Lemon, the paramedic. He tried to save Trypp. He had seen his little face up close, seen the damage, the absence of breath, the absence of hope. And then Dr. Kapoor, who confirmed what everyone feared. Trypp's death wasn't an accident, it was intentional. The injuries told a story no child should ever live through. Dr. Froloff, the forensic pathologist, said it plainly. There were so many points of impact, he couldn't count them. And then came the part that shattered the room. He detailed the essay. Trypp had injuries in places no child should ever have, and the forensic evidence proved it. A teddy bear, the one Trypp's face was pressed against in the broken webcam footage. Junior's Converse shoes, splattered with blood, confirmed to be Trypp's. Junior didn't just commit the crime, he also tried to erase it. He moved evidence. He ran the dryer to destroy forensic traces. He had all day to clean up, but he couldn't erase the science. Trypp's bedroom was upstairs. The bathroom was just steps away. The fitted sheet, the towel, the blanket, they were all found in that hallway. It was a trail of horror, and every piece of it pointed to Junior. And while Neela played outside and Ashley and Senior were off buying a car, Junior was alone with Trypp. Even Senior, despite his scrambled timeline, was consistent on one thing. When I left, Trypp was alive. When I came back, he wasn't. The courtroom was thick with silence, the kind that doesn't soothe, it suffocates. Every breath felt borrowed, every glance toward the defendant was a reminder of the horror that had unfolded behind closed doors in a cluttered house that reeked of animal urine and secrets. And when the jury returned in May of 2023, they didn't just deliver a verdict, they delivered a reckoning. Guilty on over 20 counts, including first-degree murder. And then came the sentencing. On July 27, 2023, Judge Gregory J. Anderson looked Junior in the eye and said what everyone else had been thinking. My presumption is Young leaves prison in a body bag. He didn't mince words. He didn't offer comfort. He called it what it was, an unbelievably cruel and heinous act, the kind of crime so vile, so depraved, that even seasoned legal professionals struggled to speak of it without trembling. The prosecutor, with 34 years of experience, said it was the most heinous crime he'd ever seen. But let's be honest, that sentence, life in prison with parole eligibility after 15 years, isn't justice. It's a technicality, a loophole carved into law for juveniles, as if age could somehow soften the brutality of what Junior did. Trypp was 2 years old, a baby. He was shown zero mercy, so why should Junior be shown any? This wasn't a moment of impulsive rage. This was premeditated evil. Junior waited until Ashley and Senior left to buy a car. He knew Neela was outside playing. He knew he'd be alone with Trypp, and he used that window of isolation to unleash on Trypp. He told Neela not to call 911. He never tried to help. He ran the dryer to destroy evidence. He moved the webcam. He lied to investigators. He refused DNA swabs. He thought he could get away with it. And maybe he thought Ashley and Senior would cover for him. Maybe he believed no one would care. But we do, and we see him for what he is, a disgrace to the human race, a monster. Did Junior really think he wouldn't be found out? Did he think he could beat the science? Did he think his actions wouldn't end Trypp's life? He will never be rehabilitated. If he was this depraved as a teenager, imagine him after decades in prison. And why should taxpayers fund that? Why should he get 3 meals a day, a bed, and medical care when Trypp got none of that? Trypp was shown no mercy. Neither should Junior. This wasn't just murder. It was planned, calculated, and carried out with cruelty that defies comprehension. And if justice means anything, it means no mercy for the merciless. Let's talk about the part that will make your blood boil, the part that defies logic, decency, and justice. Because while Junior rots in prison for what he did to Trypp, Senior and Ashley are walking free to pretend they weren't part of the cover-up that followed the murder of a 2-year-old boy. Senior was the one who carried Trypp's lifeless body out of the house. He was the one who screamed, "The dogs did it." He was the one who hid the webcam, the same webcam that had been used to monitor Trypp's room, the same webcam that held evidence, the same webcam that he shoved into a jacket and tried to disappear. And yet, he's not behind bars, not for obstruction, not for tampering, not for lying to law enforcement, not for aiding a murderer. Instead, he's been arrested multiple times since Trypp's death for other things, DV, stalking, and still the system shrugs. Still he walks free. Still he's treated like a man who made a mistake, not a man who helped bury the truth. And Ashley? She said the same thing. The dogs did it. She watched her daughter Neela scream for help and still chose to protect Junior. She gave investigators access to the webcam app only after the evidence was already stacking up. She lied, she deflected, she defended the monster who murdered her son. Who does that? Who protects a predator over their own child? Who lets their daughter live in a house where this kind of violence was normalized? Ashley isn't just negligent, she's complicit. She put Trypp and Neela in harm's way. She let Junior back into that house. She let Neela carry the weight of discovering her baby brother's body. And then she blamed her. Yes, you heard that right. Ashley publicly blamed her 10-year-old daughter for Trypp's death. Unbelievable. Trypp and Neela were already suffering, and when Trypp was murdered, Ashley didn't fight for justice. She fought to protect the killer. Senior and Ashley are degenerates. They are a drain on society. And if you need proof, just look at the videos circulating on TikTok. Watch how they carry themselves. Watch how they laugh, posture, pretend. Watch how they act like nothing happened.
Justice for Trypp!
What's up with your music? But I know you can hear us! What do we want?
Justice!
What do we want?
Justice!
Justice!
How can you take a picture of Trypp's body on the couch and leave for 20 minutes, Ashley? What the is wrong with you? On the petition, I got called Detective Bennett. How do you smoke so much and still look like that?
We want
Huh? You should have cut your hair either. You look like a pumpkin. Look at you, dude.
They potentially did this to him, and you're hanging around him.
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Neela did not kill him. His ass bleeding. They say.
Do you realize? Hey, we talked to Detective Bennett yesterday.
No!
Yeah, okay.
In the car, Ashley.
That's dog. That's his mom's dog. His mom don't. Exactly, but that's just what it is. Ashley knows. That's the crazy part. She knows. She knows. She knows. Man, she's saying it out of her mouth like she knows she's going to jail.
My son went there to check on him,
The cops gave him CPR.
and that's
The
when
cops.
that happened.
What?
There was no.
You are nothing more than a baby killer! Both of you!
They're not grieving. They're not remorseful. They're not broken by the loss of a child. Trypp deserved better. Neela deserved better. And the fact that these two walk free is a stain on every institution that failed to hold them accountable. Neela was only 10, still a child herself, still learning multiplication tables, still watching cartoons, still trusting the adults around her to protect her and her baby brother. But on April 16th, 2021, her world shattered. She walked into a room expecting to find Trypp napping. Instead, she found him cold, bleeding, and lifeless. And from that moment on, Neela was no longer just a sister. She became a witness, a survivor, a child forced to carry the weight of a crime so horrific it silenced seasoned officers and broke the hearts of paramedics. She was the one who discovered Trypp, the one who was told not to call 911, the one who watched the adults around her lie, deflect, and protect the monster who had just murdered her brother. But Neela's trauma didn't begin that day. It had been simmering long before. The environment was toxic, filthy, chaotic, unsafe. Trypp and Neela were already enduring neglect, already living in a house where violence was normalized and accountability was absent. And when Trypp died, Neela wasn't comforted. She was blamed. Ashley, her own mother, publicly accused Neela of killing her brother, all so she could continue dating the father of the boy who committed the murder. That betrayal is unfathomable. That level of emotional abandonment is its own kind of violence. Neela will carry this for the rest of her life. She will carry the memory of Trypp's face. She will carry the sound of her own voice screaming for help. She will carry the knowledge that the people who were supposed to protect her chose silence, lies, and complicity. But here's what she won't carry anymore: Ashley's influence. Neela was removed from Ashley's care, and according to family members, she is now thriving in her new environment. She is surrounded by people who love her, who protect her, who see her not as a scapegoat, but as a child who survived the unimaginable. And that is a blessing. All of this is public on the Justice for Trypp Facebook page. I'll link it in the description so you can see for yourself. Neela's story deserves to be told, not just as a footnote in Trypp's tragedy, but as a testament to resilience, truth, and the power of finally being safe. After Trypp's death, his body didn't go straight to rest. It was held for months, even over a year, by the coroner's office. Not because the family didn't want him back, but because the forensic investigation demanded it. Every inch of his tiny frame had to be examined, documented, and preserved, because the truth of what was done to him was written in trauma no child should ever endure. And while his body sat in cold storage, the people who truly loved him, his grandfather Randy, his extended family, the ones who had fought for him in life and were now fighting for him in death, they began planning a celebration of life. Not a funeral, a celebration. A moment to honor his spirit, his smile, his favorite characters, Buzz and Woody, etched into the headstone they were fundraising for. A moment to say goodbye with dignity, love, and truth. But then came Ashley. The same Ashley who had lied to police. The same Ashley who said the dogs did it. The same Ashley who accused Neela, her own daughter, of killing Trypp. The same Ashley who defended the monster who killed her son. She hadn't shown up for Trypp in life, but suddenly she wanted control in death. From what's been shared publicly on the Justice for Trypp Facebook page, Ashley tried to interfere with the memorial plans. She wanted Trypp's remains. She wanted to insert herself into the final chapter of a story she had abandoned long ago. And while it's unclear how much the courts got involved, what's known as this: Trypp was cremated and Ashley was allowed to keep a portion of his ashes. Let that sink in. The woman who failed to protect him, the woman who lied about how he died, the woman who let her daughter carry the trauma alone, she was given a piece of him. It's a final betrayal, a final insult, a final reminder that the system doesn't always protect the innocent, even in death. But here's the truth that Ashley can't touch. Trypp's legacy doesn't belong to her. It belongs to the people who fought for him, who mourned him, who told his story with love, rage, and truth. And that celebration of life, it happened because love is louder than lies, and Trypp deserved nothing less. Before Trypp ever took his last breath, the warning signs were everywhere, and yet CPS didn't act. They didn't intervene or remove Trypp or Neela from the home. They didn't prioritize this case. They dropped the ball, and a baby paid the price. Let's be clear. CPS was aware of this family. There were documented concerns and calls. There were chances to step in. But instead of protecting Trypp, they let him stay in a house where violence was routine, neglect was normalized, and predators were given free rein. And when Trypp was murdered, CPS didn't rush to take accountability or issue a statement. They didn't explain why they failed to act. They just disappeared into the bureaucracy like they always do. This isn't just about one case. It's about a whole system that's understaffed and paralyzed by its own red tape. CPS had the power to stop this. They had the authority. They had the evidence. They just didn't make Trypp a priority. And now a child is gone. A sister is scarred, and the people who failed them walk away with clean hands. I am utterly outraged over this case. Outraged that Junior is the only one being held accountable. Outraged that Ashley, the mother who failed to protect her son, who lied to investigators, who blamed her own daughter, is not behind bars for neglect. Outraged that Senior, who tampered with evidence, hid the webcam, and spun lies about dogs, is still walking free. No obstruction charges, no substance charges, nothing. And CPS, the agency that was supposed to protect Trypp and Neela, they're let off the hook again. No accountability, no explanation, no reform, just silence. This rage, this heartbreak is why I started this channel. Not just to tell stories or expose the rot, but to fight, to build a movement, to be heard. Because I used to sit on my couch, yelling at the TV, watching news reports about children being neglected and murdered and feeling helpless. I had so much emotion bottled up, so much fury, so much grief. And I know I'm not alone. I know many of you feel it too. So I decided to do something, or at least try. This channel is my outlet. It's my weapon, my voice, and I hope it becomes yours too. If you want to join the mission, if you want to fight for justice, for reform, for accountability, please go to inspectorgenxer.com. The link is in the pinned comment. We have petitions you can sign. We have resources you can share. We have a growing community of people who are done being silent. Let's become a force together. Let's make sure Trypp's name is never forgotten. Let's make sure the next child doesn't slip through the cracks. Because outrage is fuel, but justice is the mission. Trypp was more than a case, more than a headline, more than the horror that stole his life. He was a little boy with a crooked smile and bright eyes. He loved Buzz and Woody. He giggled when tickled. He curled up in his car bed with his orange blanket. He was learning, growing, and trusting, and he deserved the world. But instead, he was betrayed by the very people who were supposed to protect him. He was hurt in ways no child should ever be. He was silenced, and for a time, the world moved on. But not us. We will never forget Trypp. We will never stop saying his name. We will never stop telling his story. Because Trypp matters. His life matters. His voice matters. And since he can no longer speak, we will be his voice. We will shout for justice. We will demand accountability. We will fight for every child who's been ignored, abandoned, or hurt. Trypp's memory lives in every word we speak, in every petition we sign, in every video we make, in every heart that breaks for him. He's not gone. He's not forgotten. He's forever loved. Rest peacefully, little Trypp. We've got you now, and we will never stop fighting in your name.